You had an FBI consultant on the picture telling me that they can use your ADT security box microphone to get your stuff that's going on in your house, or OnStar, they could shut your car down. And he told me that 1 in 5 phone calls that you make are recorded and logged. And I laughed at him, and then he played back a phone conversation I'd had 2 years prior to joining the picture. The FBI consultant. And it was like one of those phone calls, was like, you know, what are you wearing type of things. Really? Yes, it was mad weird.
Well, look at that. This is when Shia LaBeouf was coming up, becoming a huge famous star, and then out of nowhere he started speaking out, and now he's crazy. I'm just saying. I called this out last video.
Dark forest theory says that if you attain a certain level of technology, the best thing you can do is just be quiet. Because the universe is a dark forest, and the first person to stick his head out dies, because you don't want a competitor in your region. So as soon as a culture gets close to some technology that they're on a path to threaten you, you got to take them out. You got to halt their technology. The three-body problem is kind of based on that. That's what they do in the books, and that seems to make a little more sense to me than sort of this altruistic, hey, let's help them, you know, the Star Trek approach. Let's make first contact and all of that. You know, I like, you know, human nature is a tricky thing. We're very selfish. You know, you and I might want to see those people and help them along, but there's a lot of people that would not want a competitor in the neighborhood.
And boy, did he hit the nail on the head with that one. For example, the dude that figured out how to make a car run on water disappeared. And the dude that figured out how to turn plastic into oil, he was gone, but now he's back. He recently made a video of him showing how his machine works. Hopefully nothing happens to him.
There is so much off-limit zones in the Grand Canyon, including drones. And there is a very important reason for that. If you ask Google why so much of the Grand Canyon's off limits, they'll give you a nice laundry list of generic answers. Cultural heritage sites, too dangerous for the general public, etc., etc. But it's not just on the ground that they restrict. So much of the Grand Canyon's off limits, including by air travel and specifically drones. Just look at this National Park Service map itself. All the pink areas and the blue areas are all off limits or restricted flight areas. And the yellow is restricted to anything below 18,000 feet. You see, if we had too many drones flying around, too many low-flying aircrafts, one of the reasons they got rid of airships as well, they would start having people ask way too many questions. The mining operations that clearly went on there, the ancient ruins that clearly are still there, melted and buried beneath the surface. Before heavily restricting the Grand Canyon, many articles like this from 1909 popped up. And many explorers like John Wesley Powell came forward saying they found Egyptian artifacts deep in the canyon. To protect the narrative, the parasites had to restrict access, much like many other great sites around the world. But with high-powered zoom on cameras becoming more and more of a thing, people are seeing glimpses of a past that they would like buried. Take a look at this video from some recent visitor of the Grand Canyon. Now this looks like, to me, clear as day, another one of those covered up and buried red bricked archways. Of course, the government says for your safety, you can never go over to that area or even fly a drone into that area to get a closer look. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
For our safety is a load of crap. They are definitely trying to hide the fact that they destroyed that. I mean, it very well could be Mother Nature, but I'm just saying those pictures convinced me. But if someone flies a drone over there, I'm getting that footage for you.
This was used as a calendar by the Indians. There's 13 moons in a calendar year, and every turtle has 13 sections in its back. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. One for each of the moons. And it starts over here and goes counterclockwise around and then down. There's 28 days between each moon, and every turtle has 28 smaller sections around the base of it. And if you times that, it comes to 364 days. That's obviously one day short of our calendar year. But on that one day, it's believed that they forgave all debts, the wars stopped. It was a day of nothing.
How did the Indians figure out that the turtle shell aligned perfectly with the 13 moons? So here they are using Mother Nature for calendars, and I'm going to Office Depot to get mine.
Please stop eating this shit. Let me show y'all a little something, okay? Pay attention. Nuggets. Look at that. Look at that. That's what's in these nuggets. I know y'all like y'all's hot and spicy, but look at that. Look, even your desserts, your apple pies. Watch out, man. Even your fucking McGriddles, man. Look, just think about it. I'm just trying to tell y'all, let y'all know. Because y'all don't get to see these ingredients, so. Stop eating this shit, okay?
That is a lot of ingredients for a nugget. And the one word that keeps sticking out to me is the sodium aluminum phosphate. And on Google, it says it's safe to eat, but at the same time, it can also cause kidney problems, neurological issues, and reproductive problems. That might just be in like large doses though.
What do you believe UAPs could be or are?
Strong evidence that they are non-human, higher intelligence.
I echo my colleague's comments, sir.
Genuinely do not know.
Don't know, but we must find out. Okay, thank you. I appreciate those answers.
The way they answered that question was not convincing at all. We all know they know, and I just wish they would tell us. I mean, at this point, I'm starting to think they're the aliens.
Her uncle, David Miscavige, is the leader of Scientology, and now she's on TikTok posting videos every single day of what she knows and what she experienced, and it is absolutely wild. I don't know how this is not getting more attention. I'm going to play you the first video she posted, and I recommend you follow along and listen to what she's saying.
Hi, I'm Jenna Miscavige. My uncle David Miscavige is the leader of Scientology, and I escaped when I was 22. I was born and raised in Scientology, and I never lived in a home with my parents, only a dorm with a bunch of other kids. When I was 7 years old, I was made to sign a billion-year contract dedicating my soul to Scientology's paramilitary organization. From the time I was 12 until I was 18 years old, I was moved across the country from my parents, and I was forbidden to call them and physically restrained from doing so. I worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week, for as little as $12 of pay. I had no standard education or diploma, just a couple hours a week of Scientology-style schooling. I even lived at the Scientology Recruiting Center in Hollywood for a couple of years. I escaped at 22 after they tried to separate me from my husband and threatened to ruin his family. A few years later, I finally spoke out when they would not stop harassing me or having me followed or causing problems at my work and inserting spies into my life.
Please tell me I'm not the only one that's kind of getting cult vibes here. Talk about indoctrination. You didn't even give her proper education and just made her work from 7 to 12. Like, what? I am so glad she's coming out and exposing all this.
A lot of people wonder why haven't we cloned humans yet, but the truth is we actually found out how to clone them about 7 years ago. And a lot of people believe that some celebrities were actually killed and then cloned, like Kanye and Britney. In 1996, a sheep named Dolly was successfully cloned. It took many tries, but it worked, and in 1996, technology wasn't as advanced as it is now. In 2002, there was a company called CloneAid. They claimed they cloned a human baby called Eve, however, there was no evidence of this, and they said they didn't release any to protect the family. Now, when this happened, governments around the world banned human cloning. Also, CloneAid was formed by a Raelian cult. Then they were shut down by the FDA, and they moved to the Bahamas to continue. In 2004, they claimed that they had successfully cloned about 14 people. To this day, their company is still up and running. 2007, another group managed to clone human embryos by adding caffeine. 2018, monkeys were cloned, making it the first primates. And after that, cloning was only really talked about in animals. Based on this info, do you think clones exist?
Absolutely. Because if you think about it, famous people have a huge audience of people that like them. And when you have a large audience like that, you can kind of sway their opinion. And if you don't want to sway that opinion of the people above you, well, I think they might take you out and then clone you. Then that's how they do that and keep promoting the message through your clone. Allegedly.
What the hell is that?
There's something flying above it too. You see it? You see something like sparkling in it?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. So this is how it ends. What is that?
I don't know. It just kind of like spiraled out of the clouds.
What if it's like a meteor?
Man, it's going too long to be a meteor. Oh shit. I think we just saw a UFO, guys. Damn. And it's still going. Look at it.
That is not a meteor. Meteors don't just come in and hang out and chill and then start going. I think it's safe to say that was a UFO. I want to say that they're on a roof of a building and this could be at the perfect angle of like when clouds are going by. But at the same time, it does look like an Amazon warehouse in the sky. Because if you look at the back, it looks like it's kind of fading away. But again, that could be the clouds.
What if we're already at double simulation? This week, Google Gemini 3 shows us Inception.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4.
So this person was just watching somebody else watching a Jet2 holiday. But it gets better, boys. It gets better. And so this is a rendering. And this is all just by a text prompt. But they're just out there walking in real life now. And this is all rendered live. You know, the simulation theory, how everything's rendered in real life. This is it. You can walk as far as you want. You can go anywhere you want.
So this is Google.
Yeah, and these things don't exist. This is just AI artificially creating a 3D world. But it gets better, boys.
Genie 3 has real-time interactivity, meaning that the environment reacts to your movements and actions. You're not walking through a pre-built simulation. Everything you see here is being generated live as you explore it. And Genie 3 enables promptable events, so you can add new events into your world on the fly. Something like another person, or transportation.
Live. Oh, you just type it in and it shows up.
Or even something totally unexpected. You can generate worlds with distinct geographies, historical settings, fictional environments, and even other characters. Worlds can help with embodied research, training robotic agents before working in the real world.
That is absolutely insane. At this point, the next step is just explaining to us that we actually live in a simulation. I'm kind of scared to see how far this is going to go, because what happens if I'm making a video like now? Can someone just drop a dinosaur next to me?
This is the reason why this cartoon was banned from production.
After a cold open, the theme song starts off each episode, and there is a lot to see in these 40 seconds. The visuals are stunning and colorful, and the theme song itself is nothing short of awesome. But a keen eye and ear might pick up some interesting things. For instance, in one shot we can see a figure, presumably Bigfoot, passing through the woods. But just for one quick frame, anyone who decided to blink during the intro might have missed him. We're also shown a smattering of Polaroids, which have plenty of familiar faces, such as Blendin Blandin, the Summerween Trickster, and the giant pterodactyl that we saw towards the end. So if they commit to these images like they have thus far, it looks like we can expect some pretty interesting storylines down the road. But it's not until the very end of the opening that we're given the two most crucial secrets. Listen carefully as the music wraps up. Did you hear it? It's a whisper that seems to say, "I'm still here." Check it out again. But played backwards, it actually says 3 letters back. But why are they telling us that? Well, at the end of each episode, there's a coded message or cryptogram plainly displayed. But how do you crack it? Well, 3 letters back is your start. It references the Caesar cipher, which looks a little something like this. This can be used to decode the credits messages. Throughout the season, they've circulated through various ciphers to decode these credits messages, among others that are hidden inside the show. The credits messages are nothing major and mostly just fun Easter eggs, but these ciphers can be used to dig up some bigger mysteries. Which brings me back to the end of the opening sequence, just after we hear the reverse message. We are flashed with this.
I don't think the cryptid messages are the reason why this TV show got banned, but at the same time, everyone in the comments section is saying this TV show is a very weird and creepy. I've personally never seen this TV show before, but I can tell already it's giving a creepy vibe. At the same time, it is a kid's show, so they could just be having fun with it.
That? Oh, two girls witnessed one of those ice cream trucks that are roaming around at midnight, so they decided to follow it and record what happened, and it freaked them out? Tell me more. Two girls saw an ice cream truck playing music and driving down their street at midnight, so they decided to follow it and see what it was up to. Of course, they turned their camera on to record and started to follow it for about 50 minutes, which at one point, the truck decided to turn its music off, and they started talking for a minute, and they turned around, and now the ice cream truck was facing them and starting to follow them with the music back on. Oh, fun! So they hurried to a store and tried to get inside. However, the store was closed and locked. So moments later, the guy gets out of the ice cream truck and comes up and talks to them and says, "Who follows an ice cream truck at midnight?" She told him about all the missing children and how it's believed the ice cream trucks are involved in this. And so he said, "Do you want to do things to prove that you're trustworthy?" and then walked away. It didn't stop there. Then a white van pulled up and started to follow them. They recorded the van and the man as well, and then they eventually lost him. Oh, goody.
He's asking why they're following an ice cream truck at midnight. Bro, why are you delivering ice cream at midnight? Does this not ring any bells? And it's eerily disturbing that these ice cream trucks are popping up all over the place now. At the same time, I know it's summer, but come on.
Y'all, something major is happening with the planet, primarily having to do with the atmosphere, right? Because people are reporting all over the world exhaustion, lack of energy, lack of motivation, depression. And did you know there was a place in Russia that the people fell asleep for 7 days, y'all?
You tell us what you think is making everybody so exhausted, extremely, extremely tired. You know, somewhere over there in Russia or somewhere like that, there was a whole village that slept for 7 whole days. And they never really did come out and tell the real cause.
So the story goes, there is this village in Russia that fell asleep for 7 days after the earthquake. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there were some toxins or some chemicals that permeated throughout the air, and those people fell asleep. And they're not telling people. Nobody's really speaking about this, y'all. But that's not the only thing, y'all. So I used to work in healthcare, y'all, and people, they were expressing to me that the atmosphere feels different, that the air feels thicker, and it feels hotter, that when they're breathing in, that it kind of like burns. Like, what? Like, I've never heard of that before. And then fast forward to a few years later, majority of the people are experiencing lack of energy, lack of motivation. It's like, what's happening? Something about this shift is very interesting, y'all. But how y'all feeling? Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. The shift is here. Let's get it. Peace in.
You tell us what you think is making everybody so exhausted, extremely, extremely tired.
I don't know about the whole breathing in and burning feeling, but I do kind of agree with him that I've been feeling a little more exhausted lately. At the same time, that could be me, you know, rolling around at night.
Alright, y'all. I think I might have caught something again. Check it out. So at first, I thought this was just a glare, right? Because when it gets closer, it looks like that. But then watch. It literally bounces. Give it a second. Give it a second. Give it a second. Right there. Boom. And then boom. Ooh-wee. Boom. What the heck? Alright, I don't know what's happening on this live stream, but look at that. Boom. All the way up to the sky. It's even leaving a streak. And then another one. Look at that. And here's another one. Look at that. What in the world? It literally left a streak. Let me rewind that and I'm gonna zoom in for you guys. What the hell? And then look, I literally paused it right when this one is leaving. I'm gonna press play and you're gonna see it just go. What in the world?
I want to say it's bugs flying in front of the camera, but everything that has been happening so far, this is pretty convincing. All right, guys, that's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.